Hello, this is Matt with a new video on whether or not you could beat Elden Ring with just Comet Azur. And yeah, I did it, and it was a lot of fun. There were a little bit of hurdles, but yeah, it was a blast. So at the very beginning, I had to make a few exceptions because I wasn't having anybody drop it for me, and I needed to grind some levels. So there were initially a couple of exceptions made, and then none at all. So at the very beginning of the game, I had to use the Magmorum to get past to go to the Atlas Plateau because I needed to get to Mount Gelmor, and I needed to get Comet Azur, which you can get not far into there, and it's actually pretty easy to grab. You just go up to the guy and he drops it. But yeah, you can grab the two pieces for the Grand Lift Adeptus, but I figured I'd just continue to go straight, go north. Magmorum isn't hard either way. You can obviously be beaten with Comet Azur fairly easily, so I figured I'd just make an exception there. And then there was only two more. The other one was the Ulcerated Tree Spirit, and that I had to make an exception for to get the Infinite FP which would have made it viable. And the last one was I needed to grind and get to the Bird and Mog, so I ended up having to go and do Radon just so I can get a Shard Bearer done. Didn't want to do Stormville because there was two bosses there, so I just figured I'd do that one and I didn't count it. My two Shard Bearers ended up being Godric and Mog. I unfortunately lost the video of Mog. It was really easy to kill him, by the way, with Comet Azur. But yeah, my Xbox decided to record 13 seconds instead of a minute, and it just got me at the door. But anyway, yeah, him and Godric were my two Shard Bearers. I'm not counting Radon because I just needed a one. So as we move forward here, we show the beginning fights were really easy, and it just continues to be easy. We're just running through like the entire game with Comet Azur. We're getting into the capital now, and the Draconic Tree Sentinel does not put up a fight whatsoever. Now, Godfrey Golden Shade, I actually used to summon for because he can kind of spam you so much that it makes it difficult to cast, and I wanted an opportunity to cast it, and ended up like doing really well with that. So once I had a summon, I tried it initially without a summon first, but I found the casting window wasn't really there. But the casting window was there once you come up with a summon, you bring it in, and it just has to be a distraction. I bring Anvil. He doesn't do a lot of damage, but he takes a lot of damage, and that's what counts at the end. Okay, so Morgott. This fight actually was really easy. I was surprised I was able to walk in the door and kill him. I did this on the second try. I missed the first try simply based on the fact that, like, when the scene happens, just like with Godfrey at the end, it puts him right on top of you, and it's so awkward. So instead what happened was, I was like, I don't really want to do this, try to find a right way to cast this, so I'm like, alright, I'll let him kill me, and I did, and then I went into the second time, and I just tried him, and it was awesome. So I was doing Ronnie's questline because I wanted to have Tiege for the final boss fight, and literally mainly just the final boss fight. That's the important one. I always like having her for that because I don't really enjoy the final boss fight in this game, so I like having Tiege with me. I'm going to do some solo runs in the future, but I don't plan on doing a Comet Azur solo run. I want to be able to cast it, and I want to have some fun in the meantime. So yeah, this was Astel, and not too challenging. I think I had Anvil here again with me, and yeah, not bad at all. So Renala, when you're doing magic, actually has to kind of be beaten late, and I beat her late. It was very, very hard to get her past her first phase, just like with my Glintstone Pebble run. You can check that out, that was pretty fun. It can be beaten with Glintstone Pebble, by the way, it's awesome. But yeah, she has 80% magic resistance, so I always come back to her late if I'm doing magic, and that's what I did here. I used a summon, went through many flasks. It was difficult. It wasn't easy. She makes things complicated because her resistances are just so high against magic, and her first phase can be a pain with Comet Azur or Glintstone Pebble. So here we are with Electo here. Electo actually went down quick with Comet Azur on the second try. The first try she got me because almost every time you use Comet Azur on her from the start, she's going to throw that thing at you. It's just a matter of timing of when it gets thrown. If it gets thrown a little bit late, she's going to die. If it gets thrown early, she's going to stop you from casting, and then you don't really want to have to try to recast Comet Azur on her. I don't think I need to explain that one, but yeah, she's pretty fast and terrible. Yeah. So we move on to the Fire Giant, and the Fire Giant was a lot of fun. This was the most epic fight of this run, so I put almost the entire thing in here. I mean, this was epic. All I have on every time I go into these fights, by the way, is Comet Azur. That is it. Comet Azur and Terra Magica. That's all we're using. That is everything. So walking in here, I wasn't sure how this was going to go. I used Angle as a distraction, but I don't think he lasted that long. But yeah, it was just basically me and the Fire Giant. It came down to the absolute wire, and it was just epic. This was an epic battle. One of those rare battles that you have where you're like, wow, this is just awesome to be able to fight him like this. Now, with any of the bosses that have the scene at the halfway point, you typically want to use your infinite blast if you're doing a Comet Azur run or anything with Comet Azur for the second part of it, because that scene's going to happen no matter what, and you're not going to have any time when it comes back on, and you wouldn't be in the right place anyway. So for this, I wanted to wait until the second part, and that's exactly what I did. And then I wanted to use Comet Azur from here after I set up, just so I can take him down. Now, unfortunately, he was able to move, and it made it end in epic fashion. And this really was awesome. I honestly, now looking back at it, I'm like, I wouldn't have wanted it to go any other way. If he would have just went down instantly, I don't think it would have been as fun as it was right here. I mean, this was so much fun. This fight was epic. He kind of rolls around. I get some health from him and stuff. He ends up having like no health left, and I think I was down to not many flasks myself, and I had to use a Starlight Shard in my inventory, and I had to wait it out in order to get back enough power to use Comet Azur and finish him, because don't forget, I can't use anything else. There's nothing else I can use. The only thing I have on me is my staff and Comet Azur. I'm not going to hit him with anything. I have to use Comet Azur. So I kind of just dodged his attacks here, avoided it all possible. Like everything possible he's going to throw at me, I'm just going to try to avoid. Kind of hoping that he doesn't do the whole, like, you know, too much flame thing or flamethrower stuff, but I think he ends up doing pretty much all of that, and it makes it more complicated. Yeah, he can be a pain with the fire stuff, and yeah, he gets me with the flamethrower here, but I was able to get away from it, got clipped, didn't have a lot of health left. That can destroy you pretty quickly, by the way. That is a very powerful flame attack. And then I'm able to get behind him, and at this point I have enough for Comet Azur, and that's all I was looking for. And I'm able to cast while he is sort of casting himself, and I take him down, and that was epic. That was just so much fun. So the Godskin duo I summoned for at the door just to kind of get a distraction and go through it. It didn't really go the way I wanted it to. I've actually done this fight with Comet Azur before and had a summon, and I think I'm able to get either most or almost all of their health bar in one go. This was just kind of sloppy on my part. I didn't really line them up right. I don't want to say I choked, but I just kind of like, it was the first try, I think, going in. I was either first or second try. I was trying a couple of different things. With this whole run, I did kind of like a couple of weird things like I did with the Glintstone Pebble to kind of see where I was at. And yeah, it was an awkward fight. This was an awkward battle. It wasn't particularly hard. I wouldn't go and say this was incredibly difficult, but it was hard enough because I was just not casting at the right time. I wasn't doing it right. And I found myself for the first time in there, I struggled a little bit with Comet Azur. So the second Draconic Tree Sentinel, you obviously don't have to fight, but I just wanted to show how powerful Comet Azur was getting at this point, like where we are with Comet Azur and how far we've come. He's got a lot of HP, by the way. I believe he has over 10,000. So yeah, we're going to just hit him with this, and you're going to see his HP just decimate. I mean, it just disappears from him, and he's just down. That's it for him. And honestly, that felt good, because that guy's kind of annoying. But yeah, so Malachi, I think this was the first fight that I used Teach for. And yeah, I kind of planned to, because I needed a distraction and I needed to be able to cast. And again, he doesn't give you a lot of great casting windows. It's obviously possible, but all I'm using is Comet Azur here, so I wanted to have fun with it at the same time. And yeah, he kind of like almost killed me, but ended up walking right back into the beam. So I just figured I'd keep casting. I thought he was going to run straight. He ended up going around me, and it killed him anyway. So I was happy with that one. But yeah, then we get on to Hoarah-Loux, and I skipped the Godfrey part because that was actually really easy. I used the, I think, Infinite FP Flask at the beginning just to phase him immediately, and then I summoned Teach just for the extra help here, and we finished him off pretty easily. He's not too difficult. He's actually one of the most balanced and fair fights in the entire game, and it's not bad. It's a fun fight. If this were the final fight of the game, or there was some combination of like this, it would be so much better, because as you're going to hear in most of the videos that I make, I am really not a fan of the final boss fight in this game. I think it's just bad. I think it's a bad design. You're basically chasing around a giant thing, you know, that runs... You're chasing around a giant AoE bomb that runs around, you know, like a arena bigger than a football field, and it just keeps running from you no matter what you do. You go hit it once and it runs again. It's just so stupid. But anyway, this is Radagon. I don't think this is the one that I beat him on, because this took a couple of tries to get the casting down for Elden Beast. But I just want to show you how this fight went in general. Pretty much every time with Radagon, it was the same deal. It took about 2 casts, and I needed him to get a little bit distracted with Tish. As long as he did, it was about 2 regular casts with no flask, and he would go down. He doesn't have a ton of health, so that wasn't too bad. He kind of got past him every time. Got walled, though, here a little bit at the Elden Beast. I'll tell you why I got walled. I got walled because he's very hard to set up at the beginning, because he's always going to try to move. And you want to be able to get, like, all of his health. So you have to wait for the right moment. The right moment is just not coming. And then I kind of saw an opening this one time, and I just looked at it, and I was like, yeah, this is the opening, and I went for it. So, can you beat the game with Comet Azur? You know, just going from Stormville Castle to the Academy, all the way up to the capital and beyond? Yeah, you can. It's really powerful, and it's a blast. It was so much fun doing this. This was a really fun run. I enjoyed most of the boss fights with this. It was pretty epic being able to just absolutely destroy everything. And to be honest, I may even keep this character. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope everybody has a great day. Bye.